Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zach and Sean and Ryan are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 11, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zaki Hassan, and with me, as always, are Sean Coyle.
Melekilikimaka, everyone.
And Brian Hall.
Hey there.
Wow,
Man, it's always hard. It's always hard going right up against that every week. I'm like, I got to do something clever, and then I always regret it.
Yeah. Note to self, call on Brian first.
Yeah.
That way, we have lower expectations from him.
Yeah. Start with me.
Yeah. How you guys doing? What's going on? What's new?
Doing well, gearing up for the holidays, doing a little Christmas shopping. You know, I was sort of bummed out. I realized I missed the Charlie Brown Christmas this year because they played it so early. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so this leads to a thought.
Yes.
Ready for this? Ready for Brian's thought in the beginning of the episode?
I don't know. You're switching things up.
So I was like, okay, Charlie Brown, I need to watch it. So I went out and bought it. And part of me feels weird, like putting in a Blu-ray of it, because it's like, nah, you're supposed to like watch it on television, right? You know, you're supposed to DVR it or something. Like, there's something about the commercials, and it's so odd. I can't explain it. But to take it even further, I was talking about this with my brother and a few other people this week. Inception has been playing on TNT, I think, recently. Like, it just debuted, and everybody I've talked to is like, oh yeah, I was watching Inception on TNT. And we're sort of laughing. I was like, yeah, it's just so annoying because there's so many commercials. And I own it. Like, why do I feel compelled to watch it on television with all those ads and it's edited when I own it? But we all do. My brother owns the movie, and he even DVR'd it off of TNT to watch it. Yeah. So do you guys feel the same sort of compulsion?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I think it's just our laziness is my theory about that.
To actually dig up the disc and pop it into the player and get through the warning advertisements and
Oh, yeah. I mean, I own movies that are sitting on a rack upstairs in my office. So if I want to watch it, I need to walk up the stairs and grab it and put it in my DVD player. And I have actually, like, you know, when I'm watching stuff through my Blu-ray player where, you know, you can watch on Amazon Prime or whatever, I've been like, let me just pay the $1.99 to rent it. That's how idiotic I am.
I don't know if it's the laziness for me. I mean, there's something, and I think this is sort of what I'm thinking, but there's something about I'm missing out on the live aspect of it. Like, when it's on television, I feel like I'm doing something, even though I cannot see anyone. I feel like I'm part of something almost like communal, and like the commercials, I guess especially around the holidays, because I for one, I know a lot of people don't, but I like the holidays. So seeing the ads, like, it just reminds me of like, oh, it's that time of year, and it's like this event that can only happen right now. But if I put in the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever, it's just, I could do that anytime.
Right.
Am I crazy?
You might be. I feel like you've overthought this a little bit.
Help me, internet world. Is anyone else like me? I would love to hear.
See, we're the opposite. Like, when the kids are watching TV, you know, we try to avoid all the commercials and stuff, especially around holiday time. Because we don't celebrate Christmas, so I keep having the awkward conversation about when are we going to honor our Lord and Savior, and it's just it gets messy. You know, I'm like, Santa doesn't come to our house, and they start crying, and it's a big thing. So,
do you say it's because of something my wife did? Do you like pass the blame?
What was that?
How does that work? How does that work in your family, though, Zachy? Like, your boys are obviously aware that Christmas is something that Christmas is a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, are you joking, or is there some truth to what you're saying? Like, are they always asking like what it's about? And
yeah, I mean, they're aware of the concept of it, but I mean, it's just not something we celebrate. So,
right.
They're just aware that it's something other people do. I mean, it's not like, since we don't celebrate Christmas, they don't get gifts. ever. So I mean, we have 2 Muslim holidays that we do twice a year that are equivalent in the gift giving aspect. So that they're taken care of there.
And those would be called Eid.
That's
yes?
right. So the people who are
did I
listening,
impress you, Brian?
Yeah, look at the cultural awareness on Sean.
What do you think of
That's what I
that,
was just thinking.
Brian?
Look at the big brain on Brett.
So you guys, have you been hitting up the malls, or have you been pretty much online shopping?
Mostly online.
Yeah.
I wish I could, but I'm going home to Chicago in a couple days, and there's some things I need to take care of out here first, and presents, and I didn't get on it quick enough, and so
the way you just said that, it sounds like you're going to kill somebody. You're like, I have to take care of something first.
Yeah.
I'm leaving town
People
soon, but
meddling
before
in my
I do,
affairs.
I feel like you're going to go to like a diner where somebody wronged you once.
No, I should have started earlier for the delivery aspects of all the online shopping, but otherwise, I need to do it in person.
Oh, gotcha. So you will be in Chicago for Christmas.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes, sir.
So you'll probably see a white Christmas.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping. I haven't been out there for a few years. My parents have been coming out here to Los Angeles,
wow.
which is awesome for them because they get away from the cold and we go to the beach.
Yeah,
for Christmas.
For Christmas.
But I was like, nope, I'm ready to see some snow.
Wow.
Something's still weird about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something a little unsettling about it. Definitely.
Still weird about seeing palm trees with Christmas lights on it, and
Yeah.
going down Ventura Boulevard and seeing like the stockings that light up and all the Christmas decorations. Just it's like 80 degrees outside, and
I
Yeah.
think
it doesn't feel quite right.
I think at this point you guys have been part of the California thing that you probably need to get used to it.
I
Shut up.
am used to it, but I feel that it involves me forcing the holiday spirit on myself, where like I'll play all the Christmas music, listen to that station that plays the Christmas music 24/7, and like I just have to remind myself that it's that time of year. Otherwise, it might as well just be September or something.
Yeah.
Right. All right, well, we've got a lot of material to get through today, so I figure we'll start as we usually do with listener letters. We have one letter here that's actually just one phrase. Somebody wrote with Alien 3! Because that's what they want us to talk about.
Awesome.
And I thought that was kind of a funny and interesting point of conversation because
I love it. Cut the BS, man. Just get straight to the point.
I was like, are you asking us if it exists? Are you, it's open to interpretation. But I figured I'd just throw that to you guys. You hear the phrase Alien 3. What do you think? And actually,
Well,
Sean, I'll
that's-
start with you because you're the alien guy.
Okay.
Specifically, you are an alien. So
Yes, I am. So what is the question?
No, that's all you get.
That's all you get.
What is that? Alien 3! Go.
Yes.
What did you think of Alien 3 when you first saw it? I mean, because you are such a huge fan of Aliens, and as we've established, with your antipathy towards Prometheus, you have some pretty strong feelings. If Aliens is one of your all-time favorites, I have to imagine that seeing Alien 3 for the first time was like somebody just kicking you in the nuts for 2 hours.
Actually, no. I think I've been one of the few people who has always not had a soft spot, but I guess just been more forgiving of Alien 3.
Really?
Obviously, the way that it opens really sucks, where they kill Hicks and Newt off screen, and they just sort of they sweep that under the rug within the opening title sequence. But I thought that it was interesting and fun and cool, and I thought that the characters, it had a pretty strong cast. Charles Dutton's character was pretty badass, and who's the other guy? Is it Charles Dance?
Charles Dance, who plays the doctor, right?
Yeah. I mean, it had it was an interesting setting, and the scares were there, and the whole thing with them not having weapons and having to try to force the alien through this system of tunnels into this big welding pit or whatever it was. It was an interesting idea, and I had fun watching it. I saw it opening night with my family, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
So you saw it. Okay, so you saw it opening night. Now this is pre-internet, so you probably didn't know that much about it
Correct.
going in. And for as big a fan of Aliens as you were totally fine with how it just kind of wiped the boards clean.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the time, what did it come out? 92, 93?
91, I think.
91, yeah. So I was 13, going on 14, something like that.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't on my radar to really analyze it that way. I just thought, I thought it was fun. I think the moments that stick with me from that movie that really impacted me at the time were the cool things about, like, the dramatic music and Charles Dutton's inspirational speech about how, we can let that thing come in here and kill us, or we can make a stand and go get it. And he used a lot of curse words, and he sounded awesome. And
Is there any other way with Charles S. Dutton?
no.
He's like the most inspirational guy. Remember that show, Rock? That show
Yeah.
was just like 22 minutes of inspiration every week.
It's true.
There should just be a channel, a Charles Dutton inspirational speech channel.
Yeah. And I remember it was like you
Somehow.
knew it was important because, like, you knew a show was important on television whenever the lead guy would, like, curse. Because he didn't curse a lot on TV back
Yeah,
then so much. But he's
yeah.
like, you need to get your damn head out of the clouds and get an education. You're just like, whoa. Like, this
See,
is very
I would have.
special.
Yeah, I remember Rock. Like every episode was like the special episode.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Right.
That should have been the title.
The-
A very special episode.
Well, I think what you really needed, you need Charles S. Dutton and James Avery in the show,
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. Exactly.
and that's what it'd be called, very special.
Yeah, very special.
Because that's kind of the Fresh Prince thing, right? The episodes were either Will cried or Uncle Phil yelled.
Yeah, those were like, okay, we're in for something.
And if
heavy
Will
here.
cried and Uncle Phil yelled, that was like, like the one where Will's dad shows up. Remember that? Ben Vereen is
Oh,
his
man.
dad.
Well,
Don't
my dad
do it,
loved
man.
me, man.
I'm gonna start tearing up.
And then at the end, it's like they close in on like the statue of like the father hugging the son and stuff.
Yeah.
It was sad. Anyway, so
That was
Alien
sad.
3.
Yeah,
I just watched it recently, just a few months ago. I'd of course seen it before, but I went through the whole Alien series in the lead up to Prometheus.
Right.
And Alien 3 at the very end of, like, the last line of Alien 3 is one of the prisoners is like basically like every at the end of Alien 3 every main character who we liked is dead,
Right.
and, including the characters we came to like in this new film. And then they basically shut down the prison colony. So it ends with like the final prisoners being taken off planet. And one of them is like, F you!
Yeah.
And that's like the last line of the movie. And I was like, if you were watching that movie at the time, I just figured, you notwithstanding, Sean, that people must have, like, that's what they must have felt like saying. Because it is such a just a downer, I mean, there's nothing redemptive about it.
But it is an interesting sci-fi monster movie.
Right, I agree with that.
Outside of the fact of how it fits in with the Alien chronology.
Well, this is what I would say, and stay with me on this. I think it's a horrible sequel to Aliens. I think it's a decent
Yeah.
Alien movie on its own,
Yeah.
and I think it's an interesting David Fincher movie.
And his director's cut is better.
It's
It makes
better,
it a
but I
better
mean,
movie.
it's not.
I think.
Yeah, but it's not like, it doesn't turn the dial from no to yes either. I mean, the problems are still there.
You get to spend a little more time with some of these characters, which
Yeah, for sure.
I think is worth it.
Well, actually, I watched both, and it's not even really a director's cut because he's like, "Don't ever mention that movie to me again." Right? He's
Right.
he's kind of like, I don't ever want to think about it again. But the theatrical cut does something that the work print cut doesn't, which I think is very interesting. Which is that at the very end, and by the way, spoiler for like a 20-year-old movie, but at the end, Sigourney Weaver Ripley, she throws herself into the molten metal, whatever. And in the theatrical cut, as she's falling, the queen alien that's in her chest actually bursts out.
Right.
And she's kind of like holding it and taking it down with her.
Right.
And in the work print cut, that doesn't happen.
Right.
which I thought was kind of interesting.
Supposedly that was her idea.
Well, I mean, it's better.
Not
I mean,
have it or to have it?
To have it. It was better. It was her idea to have it.
Yeah, and well, I think it's a better idea. I think it's a stronger ending.
Yeah.
But it was also her idea in part 4 for Ripley to make love with the alien character.
Okay, well, that's just strange. I mean,
So.
It just, yeah.
well, you win some, you lose some. They can't all be gems. Yeah, Alien 4 is just a catastrophe. There's nothing good about that at all.
No, it's quite awful.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even point to the direction and say, oh, well, it's very well directed, But Brian, how about you?
I don't have too much more to add, just because I'm a casual fan of the series. Like, I didn't really grow up with them. I've seen it and I liked it. I think I agree with what you said, where it's like a good David Fincher movie, and I feel it connects better with the series than Prometheus did.
Faux show.
For sure. I mean, for obvious reasons, with Sigourney Weaver and everything, but it felt. But yeah, no. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot. I think you guys kind of said how I feel.
Yeah. So there you go. Alien 3, asked and answered. Okay, so we've got a couple of headlines. I guess we'll start with earlier today. The Golden Globe nominations were announced.
Golden Globes.
And it looks like
What?
We keep if you're like a film person, I think you're basically told that you're supposed to consider the Golden Globes important, and
Yes.
That's so boring.
And they're actually, in fact, not important at all.
they're
No.
completely unimportant. Yeah. So Brian, what are the Golden Globes exactly? Like, who decides them? Who votes on them?
Well, I know I have a casual knowledge, I guess you could say, of this, but it's the Hollywood Foreign Press Association is the organization that's behind the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly who they are or who makes them up, but what I do know is that they like hobnobbing with stars.
Exactly. Right.
Yep.
And so a lot of times people would say the movies that get nominated are nominated because those are the people that the Hollywood Foreign Press wants to hobnob with.
Right.
For instance, Johnny Depp, and Angelina Jolie's The Tourist being nominated for Best Picture or something.
That's right.
Right.
I was
Like
about
2
to
or 3
bring
years
that up
ago,
exactly.
or whatever that was, which makes zero sense. And even Johnny Depp knows that made no sense. He even laughed about it a year later. And so these are just sort of a weird. I mean, it's pretty. I mean, looking at the Best Picture nominations, they seem a little obvious. Of course, some of these things are going to be nominated, but every now and then you'll get some sort of wackadoo nomination,
Right.
and you're like, oh, well, they wanted to meet. That's an actor they wanted to meet, so that's why that person got nominated or something. Does that sum it up? What you would say?
Yeah. Well, I mean, exactly. The Hollywood Foreign Press is like 80 freelance journalists. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most. To me, it's like the biggest con job in history. Because the fact that this is like the leading edge of the Oscars. People are like, oh, it won the Golden Globes. It's on track to win a Best Picture. At the Oscars, right? And it means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for instance, and I don't mean to slam on this film because I've actually seen this film and I thought it was fine. But salmon fishing in the Yemen,
Right.
is up for like several awards, and the actors are up for several awards, and it's like, huh?
And that's for best comedy.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here. Yeah, because they have that category, which is kind of an interesting category. They have Best Picture Drama, which are the films that will most likely be Best Picture nominations for the Oscars. But then they also have Best Picture Musical or Comedy.
Yeah.
So you can get, like, for instance, well, I'll read them. It's Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, Les Miserables, Moonrise Kingdom, which is interesting, Salmon Fishing in the Yemen, and Silver Linings Playbook.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, I mean, I think none of those are bad films, per
Sure,
se,
sure.
but it's just, those are things that might get overlooked because it seems like with the Oscars, it goes without saying that Best Picture is going to be a drama or a film where Kate Winslet is naked.
Or both.
Or both. So,
Although, I mean, musicals tend to do well, right? I mean, didn't Chicago win?
that did win Best Picture, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, well, what did you guys think? I mean, did anything stand out? Like I said, I mean, Best Picture, it's worth noting because it'll take 10 seconds. But Best Picture drama are Argo, Django Unchained, Life of Pi, Lincoln, and Zero Dark 30.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't feel like there are any surprises there. But were there anything that stood out to you guys looking over these?
Well, the salmon fishing in the Yemen definitely... Not because I didn't think it was undeserving, like you said, but more like, wow, that's a very random choice, you know?
Right.
And it felt like you were saying about the hobnobbing. It felt a little bit like, oh well, you know, we can get Emily Blunt and Ewan McGregor, you know, and get the stars out, you know.
Yeah.
But by the way, on that point, isn't it interesting how like ever since Star Wars, Ewan McGregor has like done everything possible to not do mainstream movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like that experience broke him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Brian, you sent that you forwarded me that clip. You and Sean, you probably got it too. The when Ewan McGregor was on that talk show, was it the Jonathan Ross show?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Oh my gosh,
goodness, yeah. I've actually been meaning to post that on the Movie Film Podcast Facebook page because I think it's funny. So I'll do that. So I won't spoil it necessarily, but it's Ewan McGregor enthusiastically recreating what it's like to be on a green screen heavy George Lucas set.
Well, I think you should. I mean,
it's hysterical.
You know what's funny about this is that I remember back, you know, when they were making the Phantom Menace, and it was like either Premiere or an Entertainment Weekly, one of these things, you know, and they're interviewing Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson on the set. And they're talking about how they're rehearsing their lightsaber fights and whatever, and how they have to stop in the middle because they're just like, holy crap, we're in Star Wars. Like, this is crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And I think now it's like, you know, by the end of it at least, he was like, crap, I'm in Star Wars. like just whatever fantasy he had built up in his mind was not at all measured up to by what actually happened.
Yeah,
but he talk. I mean, we got to talk about this. This is funny. He talks about how it was filming the scene where he's giving the baby to see. I'm doing what he did.
Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
Thank you. Yeah, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. And I didn't realize this. I thought they filmed this on location, but apparently at least part of it was done against a green screen, and so he has no idea. Nobody knows where they're looking. And you have George Lucas saying, "Look at the moon! Look at the moon!" But they have no idea where the moon is.
Everyone's just looking up in different directions, like what? And he tells us, I almost hate to spoil it because I want everyone to see it. But there's this part where he's talking about he rides up on this CG creature, so basically he's on a green box. And so he says he gets no direction, so he's sort of wobbling back and forth, pretending he's on this thing that's moving, and he has to fake a whoa, to make it stop. And then he hands off Luke and Leia just Luke to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and he says, so he goes back to the box and he's like, well, I don't even know which way it's facing. Has it changed directions? So he's like, I'm going to get on it a different way. So he gets on it in the opposite way. And and then Lucas is like, all right, everybody, look at the moon. And everyone's like, what? Where? And like everyone's staring in different. Yeah, it's very funny.
Well, it's you always hear about how for Lucas, actors are just kind of a necessary evil, and stories like this really bear that out because he's kind of already posting the movie in his mind. But actually, speaking of green screens, I mean that brings up another news headline that just came out earlier this week about the second Tintin movie, which I think I'm one of the few people who went and saw the first Tintin. Did you guys see Tintin?
Tintin.
That would be
Tintin. You said you liked it, right, Zeki?
I did like it, but I grew up with the comics and the characters. I'm kind of familiar with them. I don't know how it would play for a layperson. I don't know. Brian, did you see it?
I did.
What did you think? I'm assuming you know nothing about Tintin.
I know absolutely nothing about this character, and I thought it was a fun movie, and I was along for the ride. I didn't remember a lot about it when I walked out. And I haven't thought about it since. Mm-hmm. But I had fun while I was watching it.
So I guess that's good.
It's like, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way I can put it. It was fun, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I don't think anyone needed to see it.
Right.
Unless they liked the character. It's just, I mean, I know Tintin's history now. I've sort of read up on it, and I understand that a lot of, even like Indiana Jones was inspired in some part by Tintin.
Right.
But to me, not being familiar with the character at all, I know this is going to sound ignorant, and I am aware of that, but like it just felt like
you're ignorant.
Generic adventure film.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what? It felt to me like Indiana Jones for kids.
Sure.
And
yeah.
And I don't say that in a pejorative way. I don't mean that in a bad way. Like I liked that. Like it was like
it sounds like a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, because I took my oldest son with me, and he had a lot of fun, and you know my boys have watched it. They enjoy it. So Sean, you haven't seen it, right?
I have not.
I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, if it's on TV, I'd say give it a shot. I mean, there's worse ways of spending a couple hours, you know.
Oh, it's totally fun. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if that's like on television and I catch it in the middle, I would keep, you know, I keep going with it. It's a fun
and I will say actually that I think the motion capture was pretty good. I think overall, they avoided some of the uncanny valley stuff that plagued some of these other movies. I thought.
Right.
Yeah, it was still a little bit there, but I mean, the characters aren't made to look completely 100% normal. You know what I mean? They're slightly cartoonish,
which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's sort of stylized.
Yeah. So and that helped a little bit, I thought. But regardless, so that first one was directed by Steven Spielberg, and they just announced that the sequel, which is going to be directed by Peter Jackson, is due out in 2015.
How is he going to do that?
Exactly.
Yes,
I mean, I remember with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, you know, he'd put one out, and then he'd work the next year on the other one, and maybe shoot here and there, edit here and there, and wrap them up. So, it makes you wonder about the Hobbit films. I mean, because it was late in the game where he decided there were going to be 3 films, so maybe they had all this, for the most part, shot in the can, so to speak. But then they were like, we could make a 3rd film out of this. So, you know, I mean, maybe there's not a whole lot of work left to be done aside from post-production.
Well, my understanding is that with The Hobbit, they've got an additional, 12 weeks of shooting to do now because of the new 3rd movie.
Well, that just shuts me right up.
Yeah. But to your point, what I read is that Spielberg basically shot the motion capture portion of his Tintin movie within a month.
You know, that actually sort of makes sense because you don't have to do anything except direct the actor's performance.
Yeah.
With those things. So, I mean, you manipulate everything later.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about this. He shot the motion, the mocap stuff of Tintin, and then while Tintin was being posted, he shot Warhorse.
Wow.
So he was able to multitask. So one assumes that Peter Jackson is going to do something similar. That's my guess.
Yeah.
You know, because
so it's like, you know, while you have a suggestion for a tweak and everyone's working on it, you can be like, okay, now I'm going to go work on this other film.
Yeah. I mean, because Tintin took 2 years to post the first one. So yeah, that sounds about right. So he shoots it sometime next year. And then over the next couple of years, they finish all the CGI and the rendering and stuff. And
now with the Hobbit movies, it's going to be one each year, correct?
It's going to be one each year, correct?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, actually, wait. It is one each year, but then it's not every Christmas. I think it's like this one, then next one's Christmas, and then the one after that's like a summer one, right?
Really?
I think
that seems odd to me. Why would they do that? Because that's flying in the face of what worked so successfully before.
I'm looking it up. Talk amongst yourselves.
It says, yeah. Well, I'm looking right now, and the second one is due out December 13th, so a year from now, and I have no idea about the third one.
Desolation of
Smaug. I thought it was Smog, but
December 2013. And what's the last one called? There and Back Again, July 18th, 2014.
Oh, you're right. You're right, Brian. Yeah, July 2014.
We should do just a whole episode of us looking stuff up.
Yeah. It'll be the research episode.
Must be so fun for the
every now and then
audience.
we'll have to be like, hold on, I got to hack into the mainframe.
It is a
of us
summer movie,
thinking
though.
for
Yeah,
2
summer
hours.
of 2014.
Yeah.
I guess they just figured that Christmas was too packed that year or something. I don't know. I don't know what the thought process is there. Maybe they just needed a summer movie.
Yeah.
But regardless,
Anyway.
actually, that's a good transition point. I saw The Hobbit. You guys have not had a chance to see it yet.
No, I was thinking about it. It's unfortunate this record date because we are just out of reach of all the films we would like to talk about.
That's right.
But
Well,
anyway,
I've seen
Hobbit.
a
You have
few.
seen The Hobbit, so I want to hear all about it.
Okay, so at the end of The Hobbit,
Yeah. Who dies?
Yeah, right. You know, I'll tell you, I'm definitely curious to get your take on it. So hopefully we can unpack it a little bit more. But just to speak very briefly about it, it is the concern I had about bloat and sort of overindulgence is definitely borne out.
Now, bloat is not a character in that film.
Well, it might be a character, but no, I mean specifically in terms of the plot of the film. It's just
Right.
It's the plot. It should be the plod of the film because the first hour is like drinking and singing, as basically you know. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
it's weird. You know what I mean? Because like I went in as a fan of the universe that the first three films created. So I'm certainly not.
Yeah.
I'm not. You know, I wasn't going in looking to hate it, and I didn't hate it, but it definitely feels like there just is not enough story here to justify it, which is what I've said in a couple of our episodes.
Right.
That's borne out. It's just. This is a much simpler story than the other trilogy. So the fact that this is not, and this is a weird comparison, but this is not like the Star Wars prequels, because those movies, execution notwithstanding, that story warranted a trilogy. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
The fall of Anakin Skywalker, the rise of Darth Vader. But this is like Bilbo Baggins going on an adventure, right? I mean, that's right there in the trailer. And it's just, this is 2 hours and 40 minutes that covers apparently like 6 chapters of the book.
Right. Right.
I
mean, yeah, that's just insane. I mean, you could have had 3 tight films.
right.
So why make, three 3-hour films? It's
Yeah,
almost
and
sort of frustrating.
you didn't need to cut much out. I mean, 40 minutes would have done it.
Right.
Because
Right.
there's entire sequences where it's like, why is this here? What's this doing here? And the other,
Right.
when we first talked about this on our show, and Sean, you were making the joke about all the characters, where it's like this is Feffy and Pluffy and Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. I mean, that's barely satire what you said, because I honestly, this is true, other than one other character than Bilbo Baggins, and Gandalf, I could not begin to tell you any of their names. Like,
Right.
they sound vaguely familiar, but I couldn't tell you who's who. And that's problematic because, I haven't read The Hobbit, but I hadn't read Fellowship of the Ring either, and yet I knew who all of the Fellowship members were by
Right.
the end of that film, and I can't say that here.
And all the characters are dwarves, correct?
They're all dwarves, yeah.
The most least interesting characters I felt from the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Well, I will say this. I mean, their leader is clearly positioned in the film. I don't know if he's positioned this way in the book, but I'm assuming he is, as kind of the Aragorn-esque character.
Right.
And he doesn't even look like a traditional dwarf, quote unquote. Like, he doesn't look like, what's his name, Gimli or whatever.
Yeah.
So you definitely see that, and in the film's favor, I will say this: Martin Freeman is great as Bilbo. I think he's excellent.
How's the music?
The music is good too. I mean, it's of a piece with what we saw before, or what we heard before, I should say. And they do something very clever, which is that the film is actually told as a flashback. So we start with Ian Holm writing his book.
Interesting.
Yeah, and but they do it in a clever way where it still sits before Fellowship of the Ring.
Right.
So in other words, even the prologue portion, the flash forward portion, is still set before what we see in Fellowship of the Ring. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's very clever in a neat way, where it's like if you were to watch them in sequence, that would pay off in a fun way, which I thought was kind of cool. And we get to see Elijah Wood in there too.
Does it end with a teaser of the next movie?
It does not.
Huh.
But if you remember, I mean, the other ones didn't either. They re-released Fellowship of the Ring many months later, and they added a teaser for the Two Towers. Do you remember that?
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
I thought so. It wasn't in the original release.
No, I mean, Sean, you and I went to see Fellowship of the Ring like a good 3-4 times, probably.
Yeah, no, I remember.
So that was probably like the third or fourth time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing I figured I'd mention to you guys is that I went and saw it in the 48 frames a second format, which we also talked about before, and just as by means of review for people, I mean, this is kind of the new film standard that Peter Jackson has been real gung-ho about, and
they would like it to be the new film standard.
Right. It's the new hoped-for standard by Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
And it doubles the frame rate, and the idea there is that it looks even more real and whatnot. So I had the option of actually a couple different press screenings, and I was like, all right, well, I want to see the 48 frames per second. I want to see what all the ballyhoo is about. And about an hour into the movie, I had to rush out of the theater because I was going to either A, pass out, or B, throw up.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, like, I'm not making that up either. Like, I was sitting there watching, this is true, I was sitting there watching, and I felt flush. I mean, it's the damnedest thing. Like, it's hard for me to even encapsulate what I felt, but it was like, I need to get out of here right now and lie down. Otherwise,
now, you're sure you're not pregnant?
Well, that's a possibility. Admittedly, I haven't taken a test. So we'll leave that out there.
No, but was it like a... I haven't heard anything like this before, but I believe it.
Yeah.
Because, it'd be a whole different sort of swooshing, sort of sensation in front of your eyes. And so, I mean, was it sort of like seasickness?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've never been seasick, so it's hard for me to say. And actually, just for a little bit of context here, this is the 48 frames a second plus IMAX plus 3D. Which is basically, that's like, don't feed the mogwai after midnight, because that's I think that's what it is. It's like a bunch of this stuff all happened together, and it's weird because it's almost, it's just too much, because
I'm really curious.
Say that again?
No, I just said I'm really curious, and I don't think I'm going to like the 48 frames per second because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's very similar to that new setting on those flat screen televisions where it looks sort of like a Mexican soap opera or something. It looks like super real or like PAL
what's funny though is that I've talked to just as many people who've been like, oh, it looks great, it's amazing, and the 3D looks so much better. So I'm perfectly willing to admit I'm just a wiener. I don't know, but I will say, I mean, I'm not exaggerating. Like, as I was like pushing the doors of the theater open to get out, I was like having an out-of-body experience. Like, it was that,
Now, I mean, the only gripes that I've really heard about the 48 frames per second is that just how almost how fake everything looks. Because like when you're that high definition, I mean, you need to light things a certain way. You need to have you need to do makeup a certain way, differently than you would with traditional film,
right?
Or even just regular HD.
Yeah, how apparent was that? And did you notice props look like props, costumes look like costumes?
That wasn't as much of a problem to me as the lack of motion blur.
Okay.
Because it made everything look overcranked.
Gotcha.
So it looked like a Charlie Chaplin movie where, they're moving very fast.
Weird.
Yeah, I mean, like it's very, like, this is my problem, okay? Anything that draws attention toward the artifice of the film is problematic.
Right.
So to me, the fact that Peter Jackson is doing this thing, that's what's so weird to me. Like, that to me says it's just indulgent.
Yeah.
because it does nothing to make the movie experience immersive. I don't think, because you're drawn to something. Like, even if you're not aware of exactly what's going on, let's say you're a layperson, you don't know anything about 48 FPS, you will watch this and have an instinctive reaction of something is off. Mm-hmm. And if you're having that reaction, then that's taking you out of the movie watching experience.
I just don't understand the obsession with trying to make everything so hyper realistic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Zemeckis tried that with when he was in his stop motion phase,
right?
Or mocap.
His mocap phase. Excuse me. Yeah. You know, he's basically trying to recreate humans.
Yeah. And like, why?
Yeah, and like Peter Jackson, you know, I understand it's like maybe you want to try to pioneer the next wave of high def, cinematography or whatever. But like, you know, I don't understand this obsession with trying to make things so real that like you think you're actually looking through a window, or rather than, you know, a movie on a screen or something like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, I hear you. It's again, the word I would use is indulgent. I think a lot of the movie is indulgent, from the technology to the pacing. But I will still recommend it. I do think it's worth seeing, because it definitely does pick up by the end.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I think
I'll definitely catch it.
Martin Freeman is a much more interesting lead than Elijah Wood's character was.
Really? Wow.
I thought so. I mean, I
can buy that. Yeah.
I just think the Bilbo character is more fun and interesting to follow. You know, but, I mean, the other thing is that really, like, Aragorn was the lead in those other movies, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. So kind of a mixed bag, but the caveat emptor with that 48 frames a second, man. I mean, that was something. I have never had an experience like that at the theater. It's amazing. I mean, there was a guy, like, the guy outside the screening room was like, "Are you okay?" Like, he's like, this is what he said. When he saw that I was okay afterwards, he's like, "I thought you were drunk."
Huh.
You know, so I mean, it wasn't just in my mind. I was like doubling over. You know,
is it like licking a toad? You think, like, people are going to go see these 48 frames per second movies?
If you're high while you're watching it, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
But I'll find out.
It'd be like dying in your dreams.
Other new releases that I wanted to briefly discuss with you guys, I saw a couple of new flicks that are coming out, and since, like you said, because of our overlap time, it's kind of like some of this stuff will be out by the time people are listening to this, some of it won't. But I saw The Guilt Trip.
Yes, which I have seen.
Which Brian, you've seen, which is what I was hoping to discuss with you. Now, this is a comedy starring Seth Rogen and Barbara Streisand as his mom. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed it quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, I saw it over a year ago at a test screening. So I don't know that our versions were exactly the same, but I from what I understand, talking to people who've worked on the film, I think we saw pretty much the same thing.
Oh, okay.
There was I don't need to get into that, but there were going to be some changes, but I think they ended up sticking with what I saw.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, I was really surprised. I mean, I don't dislike Barbara Streisand, but I wouldn't consider myself a fan. And I mean, she's, you know, I don't like the Fokker movies,
right?
Know? And so her doing comedy does not appeal to me. But I found her really endearing.
I
in
totally
this movie.
agree. Yeah, absolutely.
And for playing, I'd read, you know, a couple early takes when people had seen trailers. They're like, "Oh, she's playing this typical Jewish mother sort of character." And I mean, I didn't actually feel that at all. I felt like I was able to draw some things out of her character that reminded me of my mom.
Sure.
And I heard, you know, other people say the same thing, and I felt like she did a pretty good job of being sort of a cipher where you could be like, oh, you know, you understand how a son could be frustrated with her, then at the same time you can recognize the sweetness in your own mother where you feel bad for her at times. And I thought she was really great in it.
Yeah, there was a sweetness to the movie that I really appreciated.
Uh-huh.
You know, it was funny, but it was funny in a heartfelt way rather than in a dickish way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, we all love Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and I don't think this movie is up there with that film. But at the same time, it seems like people always try to make that film again. You know, they did that with Due Date with Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis, which was funny sometimes, but it definitely did not have the heart, and it was more concerned with being edgy and going for sort of shock laughs and things like that, rather than really caring about the characters and their journey necessarily. And I felt like this movie reminded me more closely of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where it is a journey of these people together, and they end up somewhere different in the end because of each other. And I thought that came across. Yeah.
There's a button at the end there that was just like, it was sweet and poignant.
Great button. Yeah.
And just like perfect, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely recommend this one. Yeah, I highly enjoyed it.
And it's a good time of year too, because if you want to go see something with your parents, I mean, I'm excited. I'm going to take my mom to go see it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When I'm visiting at home, so
So this is interesting because you'd have better luck playing pickup sticks with your butt cheeks than getting me to see a Seth Rogen Barbra Streisand movie.
Well,
I mean, talk about putting two people in a movie that would keep me as far away from the movie theater as possible. But I trust your guys' opinion, and for what you're saying here, makes me almost kind of want to go see it.
No, typically I'd imagine I'd have a easier time finding a three-legged ballerina than I would. No, but really, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm glad to hear that, because again, seeing it so long ago and having no one really to talk about it with, you start to question yourself. Sometimes you're like, I had this experience. I don't know what other people are going to have. So it's always
did
nice
I even see this
what
movie?
Other people think. What's that?
You're like, did I even see this movie? Does it exist?
Yeah. No, so I'm glad you're saying exactly the same things that I felt, because I really I recommend it. I think it's a very sweet, nice, fun movie.
Yeah, I mean, what I really liked was that again, it's like you try to, and maybe this is just like as we get older, we realize like a lot of that American Pie style of like gross out shock humor doesn't really land as much.
Yeah.
And one thing I've really come to appreciate is just kind of when you have genuine humor come from the situations and the characters, and it still feels natural within the world of the film.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, actually, if I could share a quote, this is so funny. I did not think this would come up, but I saw this quote about the making of the Charlie Brown Christmas special. And is it
wow,
Bill?
Full circle.
I know. No, hold, stick with me. I seriously can't believe this came up. But is it Bill Mendelsohn?
Yeah,
I believe producer or something on there. I feel terrible. I don't exactly know, but he was obviously intricately involved. But he had this. Right? I feel like it was Mendelsohn. Well, I know there is a Melendez, but Mendelsohn. He said about why the show endures. He said the message is simple. Schultz wanted to do a show on the true meaning of Christmas. Any good writer like Schultz deals in truisms and things that are timeless. There are themes about unrequited love and bullies. They work as well now as they did in the 1960s, and they'll probably work for another 50 or 100 years as well. And I was like, yeah. I mean, when you look at films that endure, they deal in truisms and not just fads.
Right.
And things like, this will make everybody laugh for this year. You know what I mean? Like, and there's a place for those movies, and they'll make you laugh, and you'll enjoy them during the summer, and then you'll never watch it again. But there was a moment in The Guilt Trip, and I feel like I'm like making this sound like this is some sort of ultimate classic, and it's certainly not. But
it's not, but
it's not at all. But there was a moment that made me realize that I liked this film, where they have this pit stop at a strip club. And you're like, okay, of course, the strip club scene. There's always a strip club scene and whatever. But then there's this moment that ends up in the parking lot with the stripper and the car and the mother and the son. And it's so true. Like, not necessarily what happens there has happened to you, but the intention of that scene where, sort of being embarrassing where someone knows something better than you do, is able to solve a problem that you can't solve. And that's like, I think goes along with that quote where it's like, it's funny because it's true and it will always be true. And so I respected the film more than I expected to respect it.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, and I don't want to spend too much time on this film, obviously, but I do think it's an interesting conversation. The through line throughout is that Seth Rogen's character, the reason he's traveling across the country, he's trying to he's trying to pitch this new product that he's come up with to various companies. and the problem is that his pitch is very dry, and he's just not a very dynamic presenter and whatnot. And then we have Barbara Streisand say, oh well, maybe you should try like saying this or that, whatever. And we like, if you watch enough movies, you're kind of like, all right, well, we probably know how this is going to play out, where he'll end up sort of applying what she said by accident and ends up paying off, and even though there is that aspect of it that's predictable, the way it plays out is still, you still end up being like, yeah, all right, where it isn't completely predictable, but it is, but it's still, but you're okay with it because it does it in a fun and interesting way.
Yeah, it's not a film that just goes and does the things you expect. Like it's handled with care.
Yeah, exactly. So very
Which
very
makes it, I
pleasant
think,
surprise, though.
risable.
I definitely recommend that.
Yeah.
And just very, very briefly, Jack Reacher, which is we talked about a few weeks ago, not a porno, but very fun, a very solid start to what I think could be a fun franchise.
Cool.
Yeah. So I don't want to spoil that one too much, but when we talked about it before, Brian said, yeah, it's like Tom Cruise action movie 2012, and that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
When you watch the movie, they could have just as easily called it Tom Cruise Badass,
Right.
because it's just an excuse for, and actually it's an excuse for Tom Cruise to be Tom Cruise, and so it's kind of the definition of like a personality movie,
right,
where the story is fine, it's engaging, and it draws you, and it's not dull by any means, but it's propelled on Tom Cruise's personal charisma, so you really get a sense of why the guy's a star.
Did you buy him as this weighty badass? I'll just say it because in the commercial, there's that moment where he says something about like, you shouldn't play with guns and things like that, and I just kind of don't buy it. Yeah,
well, it's funny that you say that. That's something that I kept coming back to. I feel like the movie tries very hard to convince us that he's more of that he is this badass.
Yeah.
And and they have him, to their credit, they have him do these fight scenes, and you can tell it's Tom Cruise, and he's just kicking the crap out of people.
Yeah.
But my understanding is that the character from first of all, I didn't even know this, but there's a whole series of books. There's like 17 of them, which I had no idea. And the character in the book is like, 6'5" or whatever.
Right, like double his height.
Yeah, he's like 5'6".
Yeah.
5'2" if you take off like his cowboy boots or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there is a little bit of that. There's a little bit of like the Napoleon complex going on, it feels like,
Right, because like if Ron Perlman told me not to play with guns and growled over me, I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Tom Cruise doing it, I like Tom Cruise. I've said it before. Like, I think he makes good movies, whatever. But I was just wondering if that comes across or if it just doesn't really matter.
I don't think it ever leaves your mind completely, but they kind of scotch tape over it.
Yeah.
And what I said is like, I liked it enough where, it's not something where I'm like, oh, you got to rush out and watch Reacher, which I'm sure some critic will say, and that'll be like on some TV spot,
Right.
But I would absolutely hit up like the theater every couple of years to watch the new Jack Reacher movie. I think
cool.
So Christopher McQuarrie, good job. It's good to see him kind of breaking through more into the more mainstream stuff.
Yeah, and there's rumblings, right, that he might be doing the next Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, but what's funny is after watching this, I was like, I don't want him to.
Why is that?
Not because he's a bad director, but I was like, I think he should do the Jack Reacher movies.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, just keep these franchises separate, because it's like, why do you, keep the Mission Impossible things the way they are and keep the Jack Reacher, why do you want to mix them together,
Right.
That was my as I was watching the movie, that thought went through my mind, and I was like, you know what? I don't want him doing a Mission Impossible.
Well, maybe they're going to take a James Bond approach and have a different director for each one. So it'll be stylistically a little different than the previous one.
Yeah, that's possible too. That's. I mean,
not be a bad thing.
It's funny because for as completely off the wall as the Mission Impossible movies are, this is much more grounded. I mean, it could just as well be a TV series, except that it has Tom Cruise in it. Yeah, and I don't say that as a bad thing. It's very small scale in terms of how it's structured and whatnot.
Cool.
But we've got, speaking of Tom Cruise, we've got a whole bunch of new and up and coming trailers coming out, and I think we've kind of hit the mother load of trailers. Usually every episode we kind of talk about one or two, maybe three.
Yeah, there's a whole.
So this episode is basically could be called trailers.
Yeah, exactly. This is the trailer episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
So coming up, I guess first off, just as a segue point, we have Oblivion, which is directed by Joseph Kosinski, and it stars Tom Cruise as Wall-E. Let's play a little bit of the audio from this trailer here.
Back online.
60 years ago, Earth was attacked. We won the war, but they destroyed half the planet. Everyone's been evacuated. Nothing human remains. We're here for drone repair with a mop-up crew.
This is Jack Harper. I'm good to go.
2 more weeks, Jack, and we can finally leave and join the others. Don't take any chances.
I've been watching you, Jack. You're curious. What are you looking for in those books? Do they bring back old memories?
They won't stop till they find me.
If you're looking for the truth, that's where you'll find it.
You need to know what happened.
What aren't you telling me?
Jack, Mission is ordering you to stand down.
I'm not gonna do that. This is the only way.
Okay. Sean, what are your thoughts on the trailer?
Well, I thought it looked visually. I think it looks stunning. I think with Tom Cruise aboard, you can at least hope that it's got an interesting story at the core. But the fact that it's Joe Kosinski, and this is based solely on Tron Legacy, he doesn't really strike me as an actor's director or really a story-conscious director. He's great at creating these unique and stunning environments, but I mean, for me, the biggest problem with Tron Legacy was that I thought the performances were all very stale, and I thought that the story was pretty much awful. But, I mean, like, you know, he's got a lot of stuff going for him in this movie. Daniel Simon, who designed all the vehicles for Tron Legacy and Tron Uprising, the TV series, and he's worked on a crapload of other stuff. Super, super talented guy. So he designed the pretty much this whole movie, from what I understand. So I think all the visual components are there, and I was trying to look at the positive stuff. I think that, like, visually speaking, again, it seems very vast and complex, yet also kind of simplified, so that it doesn't really, like what Brian has mentioned on previous episodes, it doesn't really turn into visual white noise like some of these heavy CG movies do.
Right.
But, I mean, all that said, I don't think that there's enough there to really make me want to rearrange my schedule for it. If it happens, it happens. I think this fits into that, Sunday morning half-price movie kind of category. For me, personally.
Well, you were talking about... sorry, Brian, go ahead.
No. I'm going to go off on a sort of different tangent, so go ahead.
Well, just very briefly, you were talking about Joseph Kosinski in terms of his story sense. This is actually based on a comic book that he wrote.
Oh, really?
Yeah, kind of interesting.
I mean, that could be a good thing or bad thing. Like we see what Zack Snyder did with Sucker Punch. You know, that was a property that he created and was probably one of the worst movies I've seen in the last 10 years or so.
Well, we'll talk more about Zack Snyder in a little bit, but
so I mean, it could be a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, it's going to be beautiful and it's going to be breathtaking, I'm sure.
Right.
Oblivion, but I don't know. There's also parts of it that sort of look like, I feel like I've sort of seen this movie before.
Yeah. Now, I mean, the premise is, I mean, I was being glib about it, but that's basically it, right? Tom Cruise is the last human being left on Earth after it's been devastated in some kind of a war or something. And
Yeah.
he's-
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
if I could sum it up for people who haven't seen it and try to get them to understand it, I would say, for people who've seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure, that movie is all about Pee-wee going and trying to find his bicycle and all the interesting people he encounters. And at the end of the film, a Hollywood bigwig is like, "We're going to turn your story into a movie, kid." And so then he goes and watches the film, and it ends up it's this crazy, overblown Hollywood spectacle where Chris Christopherson, excuse me, plays Pee-wee, but he goes by PW.
Oh,
And
James Brolin, dude, get it right.
Oh, I'm sorry, James Brolin. Beards. Anyway, and he's got this sexy woman, and he's got a motorcycle instead of a bicycle, and it's all crazy. So, for me, Oblivion was like that Pee-wee Hollywood version if Wall-E was a true story.
Yeah, that's a
So-
great way to describe it.
If Wall-E really happened, and he was this little sad guy on Earth and cleaning up everything and whatever, and they're like, "We're going to turn that into a Hollywood movie. Wall-E, you're going to be played by Tom Cruise." Right? You're cleaning up Earth. All right? And then there's this sexy girl talking to you and telling you, "Hey, there's only a couple days left. I hope nothing goes wrong."
That's funny.
Oblivion.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. And hey, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I was struck by how similar it was to sort of like Wall-E. But
Morgan
with a lot more sizzle.
Morgan Freeman did look kind of cool with those funky space age goggle things.
That was
and
freaking awesome, by
trench
the way.
coat. Yeah.
When he lit the cigar. And,
Yeah, he looks pretty awesome.
yeah.
So Brian, you were going to say something before I cut you off there.
Oh, no, I was going to go into my whole Pee-wee shtick.
Oh,
No, I want to hear what you think about it.
I'm intrigued. I guess that's what I would say.
Sure.
I'm not pro Tom Cruise. I'm not anti Tom Cruise. Like, he's not a deciding factor, a yay or nay about whether I watch a movie. But he generally tends to do good movies. Generally, because we've already had the night and day conversation.
Sure.
And I despised War of the Worlds. But
The first half is pretty great.
of War of the Worlds?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's parts of it that are very solid, but I think just on the whole, it was not a fulfilling experience for me.
You should just rewatch the first 45 minutes to an hour and then just stop it once they get to Tim Robbins' house and then just make up the rest of the movie in your head. That's the best way to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it is? My problem with Tom Cruise is that it's impossible to create a completely immersive film that has Tom Cruise in it.
Yeah.
Because he's such like the center of gravity, and he's so much Tom Cruise. So when I see the trailer for this, it's like, oh well, it's Tom Cruise in like a spacesuit or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And so that was something that jumped out at me, where it felt, it's almost like when he does these sci-fi movies like this, and even Minority Report to some extent, that just calls attention to itself, the fact that it is Tom Cruise. And that's not his fault. I mean, it's, when you become a star like him, that's kind of what happens. But I feel like him, more than many other actors, that's very much like it calls attention to itself.
I'll go on record. I'm a Tom Cruise fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, typically it's enough for him to just be in it to make me want to see it. Like, usually it's enough just for it being a Tom Cruise movie. Like, I will go see it. But there's something about this that just kind of looked, I don't know, just like, I just feel like I've seen this movie before for some reason.
Does that lead us to our next trailer?
Well,
I think it
does. But actually, just a brief tangent. We were talking about Joseph Kosinski. We were talking about Tron Legacy. It was just announced this week about Tron 3.
Yep.
And Sean, I was wondering if there's any insights you can offer, or if anything that you know, or anything you can talk about as far as how that's coming together.
Well, I know that it's really happening.
Okay.
I know that they are not rewriting, but adding to the current script that's been written. I know from working on the show, just gossip through the directors and EPs on the Tron Uprising show, that Joe Kosinski is actually a big fan of the animated series.
Oh, cool.
Which is a big compliment for us. the rumors that I've heard, and I don't know if there's any truth to this, but just rumblings, is that it's supposedly the story is going to be more of it is going to take place in the real world than inside the grid. They want it to have a bit of a different flavor than Tron Legacy. Yeah. Which to me, even though it was sort of this, vast and complex world inside a computer, to me personally, I think Tron Legacy felt very empty.
Yeah.
It felt very small, like you never really got a sense of the scope of what this universe was, or how big it was, or how many people there were, or how many. It didn't have any depth to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just read that Garrett Hedlund has said that he's going to be coming back, and I don't. He was the lead in Tron Legacy. He was Sam.
Yeah.
So that's either good news or bad news, I guess, depending on what people thought of his performance.
I would assume that the story probably picks up where the last one left off, where it's him and Olivia Wilde are in the real world. That's probably where it's going to pick up.
Right. Anyway, moving on. So coming up, another trailer in the vein of Oblivion and whatnot. We have After Earth, which stars Will Smith and Jaden Smith, and it's set after Earth, I'm assuming. Let's play some of that audio here.
Crash landed. 2 confirmed survivors. Son, this is not training. This is a Class 1 quarantined planet. The threats we will be facing are real. Everything on this planet has evolved to kill humans. Every single decision we make will be life or death. But if we are going to survive this, you must realize that fear is not real. It is a product of thoughts you create. Now, do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real. But fear is a choice. Do you know where we are?
No, sir.
This is Earth.
Okay. Brian, what's your take?
I watched this trailer before I saw Oblivion. I guess I should state I like Will Smith.
Oh yeah.
Like I think he's a super charming guy. Like he's a good actor. Or he's a fun actor. I think he is capable of good things. But I think a lot of times, like you guys were saying, he's sort of forced into the not forced. He plays these roles where he's just Will Smith, and things are happening around him.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's capable of a lot of things. And I thought the beginning, the way that this trailer starts with him and his son, and they're doing he's trying to get his son calm, the breathing patterns or whatever. I was like, okay, yeah, this is like Will Smith acting. This looks good. And then, it just kind of is what it is. It's very similar to Oblivion. I watched Oblivion right afterward, and I was like, oh, that's the exact same movie. It's, Earth has been sort of wiped out. And after Earth, from what I understand, Will Smith and his son return to Earth 1,000 years after, humanity has been wiped out, and then there's some sort of menacing force on the planet. I think it was animals have even mutated to all animals would strike against humans. Everything is against humans now.
Right. So it's Planet of the Ape or Animals.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, again, only from what I understand, and. Yeah, and we should say it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Well, I was going to bring that up. Did you notice the one name that was conspicuously completely absent from?
I didn't even know. I mean, I knew it was one of his films, so I didn't think about it. But really, they
interesting, but not
all,
surprising.
Yeah, they don't. They actually, they don't even mention Will Smith's name in the trailer, but they don't need to.
Right.
But they don't say an M. Night Shyamalan film from the director because he is, in fact, box office poison now.
Crazy. You know what? I'll say this about M. Night Shyamalan. For me personally, I think he's an interesting director. I think he's got a really, really good eye, but he just doesn't know what to do with it.
I think that M. Night Shyamalan's life has turned into an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Because this is like the twist ending where he's like this shitty director who everyone hates.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. You know where it did sort of lose me, though? Because it was like with Oblivion, it was, a guy on a completely empty Earth, and then he discovers menacing forces as well.
Yeah.
I thought those ships and the sort of the battle stuff that was going on, I was like, oh, wow, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. That looks interesting. But with After Earth, it was like these mutant animals.
Yeah.
And I don't like mutant animals. Like...
Well, they don't like you either, Brian.
Well, no, it's just like I want to see either like an alien or I want to see like some sort of ship or something. But like when I see a panther, but it's like, oh, it's not a panther. It's a panther with another face.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay.
I hear you.
What about you guys?
What I kept thinking as I was watching it, I was like, I was like, why is Will Smith playing it so safe? Like that's what I was thinking. And I think part of this is because I did just see Django last week, and it was a lot of fun, and we can talk about that in the next episode because there's certainly a lot to talk about there. But as I was watching that film, I kept thinking in my mind, like, why did Will Smith turn this down? He would have been so good in this. And it's like he turned down Django to do stuff like this, which is just like, I'm sure it'll be fine, you know what I mean? But he's not. There's nothing new really. Like it just feels very familiar.
Yeah, I stopped paying attention.
Yeah, there's kind of and maybe it's setting it up like the son is really the main character. And
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah, I was like, do you think this is one of those films where he dies like in the middle or the first?
Well, I was about to say, yeah. I mean, maybe they'll like off him halfway through, which would I guess qualify as a twist.
Did Shyamalan write this movie as well?
I don't know, actually. Somebody should...
I'm on it. I feel like he did.
Shyamalan, did you guys see The Last Airbender?
No, but it's in my queue because I'm dying to see it. I've heard such terrible things about it.
That one I went and saw, and I saw the 3D, which is one of the worst like post-produced 3D that they've ever done, apparently, because they did it in like 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
Or something crazy like that. So that was horrible because there was no the depth of field. Everything was completely off. But the movie was just poo. And it's not even like I'm not a fan of the Airbender cartoon show. I've never seen it, but I don't even want to because after seeing this movie, I'm like, you couldn't. Forget it, And I have students who are like, no, Avatar: The Last Airbender is so good. I'm like, I don't believe you, because. There's no good, like nothing good poked through the wreckage of this film,
Yeah, well, I'll say After Earth is written by Steve Gaghan.
Oh, he's good. Oh, wow.
Who wrote, Traffic and Syriana. Yeah. And then, but it also, M. Night Shyamalan is credited. And then Michael Socio is credited with additional dialogue. He's written for, interesting, King of Queens, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And
you know what that means? At one point, Jaden Smith's going to be like, "How come my dad don't love me?"
yeah.
There's a weird little fun fact about this trailer. I don't know if you guys looked at the international version of the trailer at all.
I did
I'm not sure.
If you go on YouTube and you look at the international version of the trailer, Will Smith's narration is pitched higher. His voice is actually slightly higher than it really is.
So he sounds like Chris Tucker or something in the trailer.
Not that high. But it is noticeably different.
Weird.
That was weird.
Because just sort of by accident, I looked at the international trailer first, because trying to find it on the internet, like that was the one that kept popping up. And I was watching it, and I'm like, this doesn't sound like Will Smith, but it sort of does sound like Will Smith. And then I watched the American version, and that's clearly Will Smith.
Weird.
So yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why the decision to do that.
Racism, obviously. I mean, clearly. Actually, about Oblivion, we were talking about people who wrote After Earth, but one of the people, or the guy, I guess, who wrote Oblivion is Michael Arndt.
Oh, Mr. Star Wars.
Yeah, doing the Star Wars prequel or sequel.
Interesting.
So this will be a kind of a good indicator of how that movie's going to be.
Better be good, aren't?
Yeah. Moving on, we've got, man, so many big trailers, but one of the biggest ones is Star Trek Into Darkness. The announcement trailer came out for that last week, and I guess there's going to be another new trailer for that coming up in a couple days. But
Cool.
I was excited by this, but I'm kind of the Trekkie of our group. I've come to admit that.
Now, wait a minute. You saw The Hobbit IMAX. Did you get to see the 9-minute Star Trek intro?
I did not, unfortunately, because they don't show that stuff in front of press screenings.
Ah.
So I was very disappointed.
Boo
by
earns. Yeah.
Exactly. I was crushed. So I didn't get to see that, but I did see the announcement trailer. But you guys saw it too. And Brian, I mean, you were introduced to Star Trek really with the 2009 movie. Would that be a fair way of saying it?
Yeah. I mean, starting with the trailer to that film, I remember where it had the kid, young Kirk, in the car, and then that cop on the hover bike, and I was like, "What is this?"
Right.
It captured me from that.
Wow.
And yes, saw the film, really dug the film, thought it was really fun. I know a lot of people said it felt more like a Star Wars film than a Star Trek film.
Right.
Then you, being the Star Trek fan that you are, and knowing that you had me slightly distracted by this film, you're like, okay, here's where I grab him. So you showed me, the previous films. I had only seen the fourth one with the whales,
Right.
growing up, but then you showed me 2, 3, and 4.
That's
and
right.
I really dug them a lot.
There's 6. I showed you 6, 2, 3, and 6.
Did we watch all the way through 6?
Well, we watched 2. We watched 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And you watched 4 on your own.
Yeah.
And then the next time I saw you, I showed you 6.
Okay.
We skipped over the 5th one because that's what friends do.
Isn't that like isn't that a thing, right? You're supposed to skip the odd number films with the Star Trek series?
Yeah, I mean if you're on the fence as a fan, then you're not going to turn into one with the 5th one or the first one, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. But all that said, I wouldn't still call myself necessarily a Star Trek fan in the way that I think of myself as a Star Wars fan, obviously, but I'm looking forward to Star Trek Into Darkness. I thought it looked really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with these characters now, and I mean even just in this universe. Like, I thought the first film did such a good job of introducing these people to someone like me who, I could have named them before, but now I feel like for as many characters as there are, that film set them up. I understand them. I know who likes who and who doesn't like who.
Yeah.
And so I'm ready to see them in a new adventure together. And I thought this had like a lot of good-looking visual panache going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's play some of the audio from the trailer here very quickly, and then we can talk about how we don't know anything.
You think your world is safe. It is an illusion. A comforting lie told to protect you. Enjoy these final moments of peace. For I have returned to have my vengeance. So, shall we begin?
Okay. So, based on this trailer, we know nothing at all except that the Enterprise is underwater at some point.
Yeah,
which looks
that's
awesome.
Cool.
which looks really cool, yeah. And people are pissed. The Trekkies, man. Seriously. You can count on the Trekkies to get pissed about, like, everything.
What's
I
that?
think
People
I
don't
think
like what? That the ship's underwater?
They're like, it's not supposed to be underwater.
Well, yeah, no duh.
Exactly. Well, you know,
That's called crisis, people.
well, you know, the people at the Bad Robot, which is, you know, J.J. Abrams' production company, they had like a big meet and greet where they called up a bunch of the geek press, I guess, and had them all come out to there. And I guess my invitation got lost in the mail. But regardless, that's fine. Somebody talked to J.J. Abrams and mentioned that specific thing, like, oh, some of the fans are upset about, you know, how the ship is underwater or whatever. And I love his response. He's like, you know what? If that specific thing is like the thing that's going to make you not want to watch the movie, then I don't know what to tell you. Just don't watch it then, you know?
For real.
Yeah.
For real. I mean, you got to have conflict, and like if everything feels safe and you know that thing can't get hurt or that thing can't get destroyed.
Yeah.
I mean, you see in the trailer, like, what's going to happen to their ship? I mean, that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah.
How are they going to get out of this?
Yeah. I mean, exactly.
Baffles me.
I said this before, you know, when I reviewed the 2009 Star Trek, I was like, J.J. Abrams had a very, very difficult job ahead of him, because you can't just restart Star Trek like you could, like Battlestar Galactica or something.
Right.
Right, because Battlestar Galactica was like this TV show that ran for a season, and yeah, there were a bunch of hardcore fans, but whatever. At the end of the day, it didn't have enough sort of cachet in the public eye, right? Star Trek, by 2009, yeah, the shows had been off the air for a few years, but you're talking about 5 TV series, 10 movies, a continuing canon that lasted like 40 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So he had a job to do where, number one, this canon is so detailed and tangled up that it's not welcoming at all to new audiences. On the other hand, you can't just erase it and wipe it clean, because you'll piss off the Trekkies.
Right.
And the solution he came up with is, okay, we're going to reboot it, but we'll reboot it in continuity.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
And so the fact that it paid off as well as it did really says something, you know. And I love the fact that we have this completely new, and I'm a fan of Star Trek, right? But I love the fact that we have this completely new universe that has its own rules, and there's a genuine sense of like, who will live, who will die, what's going to happen, you know. There's that, like, okay, probably Captain Kirk will be fine, probably Mr. Spock will be fine, but beyond that, you really don't know.
Right.
And I think
it's
that's pretty
go
cool.
ahead.
Go ahead, Sean.
No, I think it's like what you say about Christopher Nolan, Zachy, where Abrams didn't break the toy and put the pieces back in the box.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the first Star Trek, like, yeah, everything was different, but at the core, it was still status quo for the most part.
Right.
And I think that they've done such a good job with that they should now be able to tell any story that they want.
Right. Exactly.
And I think personally, like what you're saying, where you don't know who's safe. Like, I think it would be a really interesting idea to possibly have like alternate reality versions of characters that have popped up in other movies or TV shows. Like, what if Captain Picard showed up as a villain in Abrams' Star Trek universe?
Oh, okay, interesting.
Or
Well,
Captain
but
Archer
that
or
would
something
be
like
like 80 years later, right? So.
But you know what I mean? Like, what if these characters that, were good guys in previous versions show up as, bad guys in
You think
in
that would piss
originals?
people off?
Hell
yes,
yes,
it
it
would
would piss people off. Are you kidding me?
Trekkies are going to get pissed off. They're going to always find stuff to get pissed off about. Like, there was a lot of backlash about the. Is it in the international version again, where it's like in Star Trek 2, it's Kirk's hand and Spock's hand,
Or it's
Pressing
two
up against
hands.
the
We
window.
don't know whose
Two
hands
hands,
they
don't
are.
know. Yeah.
right? And so all these Trekkies are like, oh, it's trying to be Wrath of Khan without actually being Wrath of Khan, blah blah blah, and it's like the Bond fans that had beef with Skyfall being too much of a blend between old and new Bond.
Right.
It's just like, get over it. Abrams did a great job of being faithful to the original legacy of Star Trek,
Right.
but also being able to lay new groundwork for stories that he wants to tell.
Yeah, I mean, the trailer does its job. I mean, it raises a lot of questions. I know that people are still confused about who Benedict Cumberbatch is playing. He's the villain. We know that, and there's been speculation that he's Khan, and he's not Khan. Everybody, just calm down.
I thought he's like a former Starfleet commander guy that goes crazy and
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, something like that. That's all we know. All we know is that we don't know much.
I think it looks epic and cool.
Yeah. I'm definitely excited. Yeah, for all the Star Trek fans who are listening, there's a comic book series that IDW has been putting out that's actually set in this new universe. It's in the new movie universe, and it's been retelling episodes of the original TV show, but set in the new universe, in the new timeline.
Interesting.
and they've done some really clever stuff. So I do recommend checking out that book. It's again. I'm like, you know, I knew all my life I've been like, I'm not a Trekkie. Stop calling me a Trekkie.
Right.
And you know, even to my wife, it's something that I kept very private. And one day, this is like a year ago, she and I we had just watched a movie, and then we went over to the Barnes and Noble afterwards, and there was this. We were just like browsing the bookshelves, and there was this book called like Addicted to Star Trek or something like that. It was like a Star Trek quiz book. And it's this book with like thousands of questions, and there's this little electronic doodad embedded in it, right? So the way it works is you push the little button, and it goes beep, boop, 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 and then it tells you a question, and then you go to it tells you where that question is, and then you have to answer it, and you hit the button, and it tells you if you're right or whatever. And so I did the one, and beep, boop, 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 and I got that right, and then beep, boop, 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 another one, and before you know it, like 10 minutes have passed, and I've answered like 30 questions without realizing. And I look up, and my wife is just like eyes open in horror. Like she just saw a news broadcast like her husband is a serial killer, you know? And
you're like, don't look at me, don't look at me.
Yeah, and I ran out screaming into the night. Never to be heard from again. Good times. Moving on. Other trailers. We have Man of Steel.
Hooray!
My son was in the bus. He saw what Clark did.
You have to keep this side of yourself a secret.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe. You just have to decide what kind of man you want to grow up to be, Clark. Whoever that man is, he's going to change the world.
My father believed that if the world found out who I really was, they'd reject me. He was convinced that the world wasn't ready. What do you think?
Wow is my one-word reaction to this.
Yeah.
You were talking about Zack Snyder, Sean. I'm desperately hoping that Sucker Punch was the exception and not the rule.
Yeah, I am very, very intrigued with the direction that this film seems to be going.
Mm-hmm.
A few episodes back, I tried to argue that Superman was kind of a boring character.
Yeah, how dare you, by the way.
And what I really like about what I've seen so far with Man of Steel is that it seems to really be dealing with the consequences of being Superman and specifically Clark Kent choosing to be Superman.
Yeah.
You know, what the consequences are with that. You know, he's this superpowered alien being, and, you know, the human condition is to fear what we don't understand and fear the unpredictable. And so it's like, if this really happened, not everyone would welcome him with open arms, and the government would want to study him or destroy him.
Well, it's like we were talking about with Skyfall episode back or whatever, where this feels like the Superman movie for our time right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very grounded. Like you were saying, like it brings up all the issues. It's not just like, well, he can do this and let's watch him do it. You know, and he's conflicted about the things he's able to do, and we're going to spend time with him wrestling with those things. And I personally find that interesting.
Yeah, it definitely has that Nolan-y glow about it.
Yeah.
You know, really digging deep into the human element of being a superhero. Because you can argue that the Batman movies that he did was more about Bruce Wayne's arc than Batman's arc.
For
and
sure.
Man of Steel seems to be more about the Clark Kent story than the Superman story.
Yeah. No, I had a friend say that she did not want to see the origin story again. Like she was sort of rolling her eyes like, oh, I have to sit through that again. I have an opinion on that, but I was wondering what your guys' opinion on that is. I mean, do you want to see Superman's origin retold?
Well,
or do you want to just jump into him arriving at Metropolis? Go.
Well, it seems like they're adding layers to it, which I think is more interesting.
Well, you know, my initial reaction, I mean, when we got the kind of the official synopsis for Man of Steel was either just as or just after Smallville had wrapped up.
Right.
And I've had like a love-hate relationship with Smallville, but the biggest thing about that show is that it stretched out to 10 years, a thread that probably should have lasted 5 at the most. Right. So what is Smallville? It's the story of Clark Kent figuring out what it means to have to become Superman. Right. And so we end up, after 10 seasons, Clark Kent finally becomes Superman. And now, synopsis for Man of Steel. Clark Kent undergoes a journey of discovery, figuring out how to... And I'm like, we've just been through this for 10 years! That was my initial reaction.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of like, I'm at peace with it, but I'm also like, at this point, the Superman myth, everyone knows it. Everyone knows it, but what I will say makes this story perhaps more worth telling than, for example, The Amazing Spider-Man, which also retold that story, is that there hasn't been a cinematic version of that story for this generation, of the Superman origin for this generation.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as timeless and awesome as far as I'm concerned, the Richard Donner movie is, that's also very much a product of its time. So it's rooted in a 70s aesthetic, and its view of the past is very much, the 1950s, and it is what it is, right?
Right.
And Bryan Singer's film in 2006 was an archaeology expedition that was digging up the corpse of that movie,
right,
and playing dress up with it. It was like Weekend at Bernie's Superman, right? So in that sense, this movie is necessary because it's reframing the Superman story and saying, okay, look, now you don't have any excuse. You can't be put off by the fashions or the special effects or whatever. Watch this and see why Superman is important and why he'll always be an important character.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, you guys know what a big Superman fan I am. That's a message that's always worth putting out there because it's an important message,
Well, I felt the same way as what you just said. I can't begrudge my friend for being bored with the seeing an origin story again, because that's why I was bored with the latest Spider-Man movie.
Right.
And I think, though, with for me personally, the Amazing Spider-Man, that's what it was called, right? The most recent one.
Or as you would call it, the adequate Spider-Man.
Well, the problem with that origin story was that it was remaking something that was so recent.
Exactly.
Right.
In our brains, and it took very few liberties with it. It was almost like Van Sant's Psycho version.
Right.
It was like, let's just exactly do it, except let's tweak a couple key things just so it's not exactly the same.
Right.
And exactly what you just said. With this one, yeah, we know the story, but it looks like we're looking at it from a whole new lens, like I was saying, where we want to understand the psychology of everyone now in our films. And that whole conversation, the whole thing that sold, the one moment that sold the whole thing to me was that conversation with Kevin Costner.
Oh, that's great, yeah.
In the truck where, he's saying, should I have let those kids die in the truck, lest they realize the things I'm able to do?
Yeah.
And Kevin Costner saying, maybe.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. I want to see that. I want to see those conversations, and I want to see him working through that.
To that point, obviously that maybe is very pregnant with something. He says something afterwards, and I want to know what he says.
Yeah.
And now, Zachy, I don't know. I was a sort of a casual fan of Smallville, more so at the beginning than at the end. But to just branch off what you guys are talking about now, what I find really interesting about at least what it looks like where they're going with this is that, they're really sort of touching on the story about, like, once Clark Kent saves one person, there's no going back from that.
Right.
Like, he then has to save everybody all the time.
Yeah.
And that's a burden before he even dons the cape and tights.
Yeah.
And so is that something that was ever touched on in Smallville? Because I think that's a really interesting... because cinematically, Superman has always felt like sort of a cookie-cutter, just good guy character. Like, he's strong and he can do this stuff, and he's not really complex.
Right.
But this seems to be doing it in a way that is believable.
Yeah.
You know, like, because if you did have those kind of powers, like, what would you do with them?
Yeah, well, I know you asked about Smallville, and I'll kind of double back around to that. I mean, that's always been, to me at least, one of the most interesting aspects of the character, right? Because you have a character who every time, I mean, he's in a position where he can do anything, but he still has to choose who he helps and who he doesn't help.
Right.
And this is somebody who would be burdened by the guilt of that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a very interesting aspect of if you were to play it out in a realistic context, right? That sense of like every time he decides, I will help this person, he's essentially deciding, no, I won't help that person.
Right.
So to your question about Smallville, I don't think it dealt with that explicitly, but it was always implicit in, you know, I mean, the whole show is about Clark Kent's journey,
right?
And it, you know, it was at times a flawed enterprise, but I think I appreciate it overall. But to me, it just says something about how the story, it's a powerful story. It's a compelling myth that just reinvents itself again and again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so for me, and when you look at the cast that they've got here, I mean, Henry Cavill looks amazing.
Yeah.
He just looks like Superman.
Yeah.
You know, so to me, it's very exciting that potentially this will be for a future generation going forward what, you know, the Christopher Reeve franchise was for our generation.
Yeah.
And that's really cool to me, you know.
This is going to be perfect for your sons.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing it with them, you know, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they saw the trailer, and that's the other thing. I mean, all they needed to see was you know, him taking off to the sky, and it's Superman.
That was really cool, by the way.
Yeah,
that looked great.
Very well done. Yeah, so I'm excited, and Kevin Costner couldn't ask for a better choice to play, you know, Clark Kent's foster father than just this salt of the earth type like Kevin Costner. You know.
Yeah.
And we saw Diane Lane in that trailer too, looking very old actually. You know, and there were glimpses. We saw Michael Shannon, who looks very different as General Zod. He doesn't look like Terrence Stamp, and of course Russell Crowe. But Russell Crowe's Jor-El, for goodness sake.
A lot to look forward to.
Yeah, very
no
excited.
doubt. So we're bumping up to our end time here, so I wanted to make sure we had time to acknowledge the fact that the holidays are coming up, as we mentioned up top. And rather than get into a whole discussion about the holidays, we were thinking it might be more fun to have a holiday movie quiz.
All right.
So I believe, Brian, you're on deck to dish out the questions.
Let's do this. Let's do this thing.
Now, I want to acknowledge going in that I probably have a handicap here, as I haven't seen as many Christmas-themed movies as you guys, so I'm lowering expectations accordingly.
All right. Well,
real quick before we get started, I just wanted to mention that this week I had a chance to see Arthur Christmas, which was Sony Animation and Aardman. And Aardman, for those who don't know, Aardman does the Wallet and Gromit movies, the shorts and the movies. It is really, really great.
I've heard that. So yeah, hearing you say that as well, it's something I'll have to check out.
Yeah, I mean it's very British in terms of, I mean, the cast literally. It's got James McAvoy, Hugh Laurie, Bill Nighy, a bunch of others, but and more of the sense of humor, I guess, is more of that sort of British. I guess that's the only way to describe it. British sensibilities, but it's a really, really cool, fun story. It's a cool take on the story of Santa Claus, and by the end of it, you're like, yay, Christmas. It's a really great Christmas movie, and it's something that I can't wait to watch again next year, and something that I look forward to watching, you know, with as my daughter gets older. You know, every year we get to watch Arthur Christmas together. So
nice.
Wow, that's
highly recommend it. Highly recommend it if anybody hasn't seen it. So moving on.
All right, let's do it. Question the first. Oh wait, we need avatars. Let's come up with holiday words. I mean, it could be anything. It could be like sleigh bells or dreidel.
Eggnog.
Eggnog. What are you, Zeki?
I am mistletoe.
Mistletoe.
Ooh.
Okay. Ready? Question the first.
Me and you together have a good time, Zeki.
Yes. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay, question the first. Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, was the last film of veteran actress Mae Questel. She played Aunt Bethany. What iconic
Mistletoe.
cartoon... Yes.
Betty Boop.
Betty Boop. What iconic cartoon character was she most famous for playing? She was Betty Boop.
No way, really?
Yep, Aunt Bethany.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. Don't throw me down, Clark.
Is Rusty still in the Navy? That's Betty Boop. Get out of here.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
She was also Olive Oil.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. A storied career.
Well, I'll be.
Well, B. All right. Second question. Name the actor who narrates the animated special How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Mistletoe.
Zeki.
Boris Karloff.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yep. Good job, Zeki.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. You're doing very well.
Are you sure you're not a Christian?
Shut up.
All right. Question number 3. In A Christmas Story, Ralphie receives his little orphan Annie decoder ring. What
Eggnog.
is the decoded message?
Eggnog.
Sean.
Word for word, I may get this wrong, but it's drink your Ovaltine.
Yeah, we'll go with that. That's definitely the intent of what the message is. Be sure to drink your Ovaltine.
Be sure to drink your Ovaltine, yeah.
Very good. All right.
Yeah.
So 2 Zaki, 1 Sean. Here we go. What is the name of the fictional gangster film Kevin McAllister watches in the movie
Eggnog.
Home Alone? Sean.
Angels with Filthy Souls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
That's the title, really?
Angels with Filthy Souls, yes.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
That's right.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of Home Alone, my theory about this all along is that Kevin grows up to become Mr. Jigsaw from Saw movies.
Yeah.
Because seriously, you know, when he puts the spider on Daniel Stern's head, the scream, that's the scream of a man who knows true fear.
Yeah. Which, by the way, did you know that he didn't actually scream when they filmed that? I just read this.
No, really?
Because he didn't want to agitate the spider. He was so afraid of it. So that was added later.
Ah.
Really?
And that is a scream for the ages.
Yeah, it really is.
I can hear it in my head.
So my theory is that, Kevin, the adrenaline high of setting these traps and terrifying these poor men, like once he got that adrenaline, he couldn't stop.
Yeah, well, it's like he could have just called the cops, but instead
exactly.
he's just like, no, I'm going to put a blowtorch in this guy's face.
Exactly. I mean, that's the weird thing, because when I watched it as a kid, I thought it was hilarious. I watch it now, I'm like, what the hell, man? He's like, they're stepping on nails, and there's like dropping irons on heads and stuff.
Yeah, the iron actually is sort of a little disturbing.
He could have murdered him.
Gets really hurt. Yeah, he could have killed the guy.
So he grows up, and he ends up, setting a whole bunch of elaborate things where now it's like, Judge, think about the life you've led, and...
Yeah, he is judge, jury, and executioner.
That's right. He's Mr. Jigsaw.
It was just on TV recently. Again, they've been playing it a lot, obviously, lately. Aside from being a fun movie and a fun Christmas movie, it's also a really good movie. Like, as far-fetched as it is, the pieces that are put in place.
I love that movie.
In order
I watch
to,
it every year.
Just how they forget Kevin, like with the neighbor kid coming across the street to visit them, and he accidentally gets counted.
Right. Well, it's as good as the sequel isn't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
The sequel does not hold up.
Well, the sequel is they took the first one and they did Mad Libs with it. They're like, instead of Old Man Marley, they're like Scary Bird Lady.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
That's too funny. It's true, though, yeah.
And then for some reason, the burglars are, fill in the blank, in New York. You know what I mean? Like, they're not the wet bandits, they're the sticky bandits.
And I like how when they see Kevin for the first time, like in broad daylight, they're not even surprised.
Right.
It's just like, oh, hey, look who it is.
That's hilarious.
It's our little pal.
Yeah, it's not even like, hey, what are the odds? We're, 2,000 miles from where
Right.
we last saw this kid.
Leave us alone. Anyway, moving on, Brian.
Okay, so now the last question. I have one of two I could ask, and they're both more like guessing numbers. So hopefully this will sort of even it out because we're tied here. Zachy has 2, Sean has 2.
Oh.
Trying to decide which one to do, actually. Let's go with this one. It's a Christmas Story question.
Okay.
Okay, well, I haven't seen A Christmas Story.
Ever?
No, I haven't. So I'm
Okay, we'll do this as a bonus fun one later then.
Okay.
Because this is sort of important. We'll do this as a fun one afterwards. But, okay, Charlie Brown Christmas Special. What year did that originally air?
Eggnog.
Sean?
1964.
No. Zachy? Care to take a stab?
62?
No. Oh, maybe we'll have to go to the other one for a tiebreaker.
Eggnog.
Yeah.
Sean?
65.
65. 1965. It's 47 years old.
Wow.
That's crazy. And still
Wow,
timeless. Still a classic.
Yep. Well, so Sean. Sean is the winner this week.
All right. So I'm on deck
Congratulations.
for next time.
Hooray for Christianity.
Christianity wins the day. Wait. I want to ask you guys this one question here from Christmas Story. So I'm sure, Zach, you know that the character Ralphie, his whole thing is he wants a Red Ryder BB gun.
That's right.
And they keep telling him, you'll shoot your eye out. No one thinks he should get this gun. So how many times...
and actually, by the way, before you get to your question, do you know that they now have A Christmas Story 2 out?
Yes, with Daniel Stern, no less.
Oh, is that right? And
Yeah.
it's like the official sequel to the... It's like Ralphie is all grown up now. And
Well...
Is he played by Daniel Stern? Is that Ralphie?
No,
I think he plays the father.
Wait a second. Wait. It's out now, or it's being made?
Yeah, well, this is like one of those straight to DVD.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's like they're like the official sequel to A Christmas Story, you know?
Because they own the property, but I mean, it's not written by, what's his name, Gene Shepard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he
It's like,
did a whole
they made
series.
a sequel to A Christmas Vacation as well.
Yeah.
That's
Which
right.
was a
with
made-for-TV movie.
Cousin Eddie, right?
Yeah.
Cousin Eddie, yeah.
They're on an island or something.
That's right. Anyway, Brian, sorry. Go ahead.
No, so, the whole thrust of that film is he wants a Red Ryder BB gun, and he keeps asking, consistently for when people keep telling him no. How many times does Ralphie say he wants a Red Ryder BB gun in that film? Take your best guess, each of you.
13.
Okay,
How many times does he say he wants it?
Yeah.
Okay. 6.
28 times.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, according to IMDb.
That's, score one for diligence, I guess.
Now, Zachy, Darren McGavin played the dad in the first Christmas Story.
I knew that.
And he was also in, what was that awful trailer, that awesomely awful trailer where he's a guy who can't read?
No, that wasn't Darren McGavin, dude. That was Dennis Weaver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you're thinking of there was a TV movie that Dennis Weaver, who people would probably remember as McCloud in the 80s, or not, because again I'm the only one who watched that type of stuff. But anyway, he played a guy who's illiterate, and that's the plot of a movie, and it's called Bluffing It.
This is one of my favorite Zachy stories, by the way. Just briefly describe the trailer.
Well, the trailer is it's just like he was a loving father, a good husband, but he was living a lie that couldn't last forever. And then they show him, he's like driving a truck, and then there's an accident, and he's on the phone with the cops, and he's like, "There's been an accident on Route 2." And the cop is like, "Where on Route 2? He's like, "I don't know how to read." And then Dennis Weaver stars in Bluffing It. And is
that really what it's called, Bluffing It?
It's called Bluffing It, yeah. And it's just like the simpler time where you could construct a whole 2-hour movie about a guy who doesn't know how to read. Simpler times. Yeah, I believe I actually have that commercial on videotape somewhere. So, Sean, I may need to send that to you one day to just rip it and put it on YouTube so that it's preserved for posterity.
And just for the audience, we've been friends for such a long time now that is one of those quotes that when the three of us are together, it just gets, somebody will just say it at random for no
It goes
reason.
without saying.
Usually when we're at a restaurant and they give us the check, I don't know how to read. And then rather than keep somebody from crying, you know, somebody else pays. So is that all the questions?
That's it.
That is all the questions.
Sean
Wow.
is the winner.
Wow. Well, Sean, savor it because it won't last.
There must be a Klingon word for loneliness.
Yes. I don't know if that actually is the Klingon. Please don't look that up. I was just randomly saying guttural things.
You're going to be right.
If I'm right, I will be upset because that was not by design. So that brings us to the end of another thrill-packed movie film episode. Brian, where can people find you on the internet?
At everythingbrian.blogspot.com.
And Sean?
Moosehub.com, and as always, check us all out at MrBoyProductions.com.
And you can reach us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com or find us on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast.
Indeed.
And you can find me at ZakisCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner.com, as well as at the Huffington Post. For our next episode, we'll be looking back at 2012 and talking about some of the highest highs and the lowest lows and our thoughts on the world of film as a whole. So please do make sure you listen in for that. And until next time, my name is Zaki Hassan. On behalf of Sean Coyle and Brian Hall, this is the Movie Film Podcast. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Have a safe and happy holiday, everybody.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zach and Sean and Brian are talking about movies.